9 days since the historic jailbreak at the Orleans Justice Center, and we have not seen another inmate arrest since Tuesday. What we have seen is a growing list of people who are facing charges because they're accused of helping the inmates. Today we found out about 2 more. One of them is Lenton Van Buren Sr., and if that name sounds familiar, it's because Lenton Van Buren Jr. is one of the escapees who hasn't been caught yet. No relationship between the two of them has been confirmed anywhere, though. The other one is Angel McKee. Both of them were arrested yesterday, and they're facing charges of accessories after the fact. That basically means they're accused of helping somebody who they had reason to believe had committed a felony, like escaping from a prison. Today they had a hearing where the bond for each of them was set at around $1 million each. Over the last week, 7 other people have been arrested because they're accused of helping the inmates in some way, whether that's giving them money, giving them food, or helping them from the inside, like one other inmate, Trayvon Williams, who police say gave the inmates a blanket and a shirt to help them get over the top of a razor wire fence during their escape. If you're convicted of one of these crimes, the punishment can be severe. Take the one that Lenton Van Buren Sr. and Angel McKee are accused of. Accessories after the fact can get you either a $500 fine or up to 5 years in prison.
Why is it not pulling my face in? All right, let's see. What do we do wrong? Grace and peace, everybody. I have no idea. Why was it doing that? I don't know. Anyway, grace and peace. You saw the thumbnail. You saw the title. You know what we're about to talk about. I was trying to put up my background, which is the scoreboard, because we have a new scoreboard. There we go. Let me get myself out of the way. All right, so we got a new score. 9 accomplices to 5 pookies. This is crazy. This score is going crazy. Now, yesterday I asked you all how far you think it would get. I said about 15. I said before they caught the 10th pookie that got out of the jail, they would get to about 15. I'm feeling like that might be low. They might get to 20 because they're arresting everybody. Because you got to think about it. These guys are not being, they don't have resources. Like, where are the resources coming from? Where are the resources coming from? No, I mean, somebody's got to be giving it to them. So oh my gosh. But anyway, thank y'all so much for rocking with me tonight. This is going to be a short one. So I just want to say real quick, shout out to Marshall. I appreciate you, brother. Grace and peace to you, man. Of course, Miss Mandy's in the building. Of course you are. Absolutely. Prince Jedi Master. Good to see you. Thank you so much, everybody who's jumped in to say what's up. Grace and peace to you. Big Bruce in the building. Nah, they will sue and probably get back pay. Oh, wait, who's getting sued? Who's getting sued? Who getting back pay? We need to know about that. You like the Duke hat? I do like the hat. The hat itself is actually really nice quality. I have some new hats on the way, but this one is a really nice quality hat. It's meant to be out there playing golf in, of course, and your boy is not playing golf. But I do like the hat nonetheless. What's going on, President Not Perfect? Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you to everybody who's been dropping in for the nightcaps. I think we just called it the Great Pookie Escape. Thank y'all so much for jumping in. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all. So now we got some I got some updates, if you will, on what's going on with the Great Pookie Escape. I found another correctional officer, another video by a correction officer who's talking about all the things that most of us have talked about in the chat. Like, why was this happening? Why did this happen? Who was supposed to be there? And he makes it very clear. The idea and the notion that this might have been an inside job and done intentionally, I think this will dispel any myths that you had. Now, I will also let you know, I have, if you follow my community post, I have some some clipper blades. And a brother church, he is in construction. By the way, he's built some jails before, and he said there's something wrong with this story. But I digress. He's going to bring me some rebar, and I'm going to see, is it possible to use these clipper blades to cut through, at least get through most of this rebar. So he's going to bring me some probably Wednesday or this week. So I'll do a live stream. Maybe I'll do a members only. Maybe I'll do a members only live stream, and I will try to cut the rebar with the clipper blades, because that story still has got to be, of all the crazy things that have come out of this case, that's got to be the show stealer, that they cut through the bars with clipper blades. That's crazy. Now, to their defense, though, I can see now, if you look at, when we look at it in a moment, I can see where the bar was removed. It's just what they used to remove it. I just can't go with it. I just can't. I just can't. But thank y'all so much for rocking with me. What's going on, Shay? How are you? Good to see you. And I think I see the Apex is in the building. Grace and peace to you, friend. Grace and peace. Hopefully you had a beautiful Lord's Day on today. We had a fantastic day. Yesterday, I told y'all we had President Firstborn's graduation party. We had a wonderful time at church on today. I was doing work here at the house. My in-laws did, of course, get to the airport safely. And now everybody's chilling. I think President Firstborn is still, they believe in partying in our high school. She is still at the funk, as they like to call it, the funk. So I'm actually going to shoot her a text message because I thought she'd have been closer to home by now. But that's my girl. So anyway, that's the president. She's doing a great job. I'm looking forward to soon enough, she's going to be leaving from me. So she's got a really great internship planned this summer. And soon she'll be leaving, and I'll be miserable dad, probably doing crying live streams every day, just sitting here talking about woe is me, my child has left me, all that kind of stuff like that. He'll probably be keeping score. How many times is Jason crying that his daughter's gone? Stuff like that. So just pray for you, boy. Pray for me. Let's get at it, y'all. Thank you so much for rocking with us tonight. Let's jump into it. We got a good one planned tonight. Let's go. That probably needs to be bigger, Jason. Let's do this. All right, let's go. Green hearts in the chat when you are able to hear.
It has been more than a week since the infamous jailbreak at the Orleans Justice Center. 5 inmates have been caught and 5 others remain on the run.
Pookies.
And while investigators continue to search across the New Orleans metro to find them, they're arresting several people for allegedly helping these inmates after the escape. Good evening, and thanks so much for watching. I'm Whitney Miller. Tonight, 2 more alleged accomplices are facing charges, and that brings the total number to at least 9, and we're learning more about their cases. Our Rachel Hanley.
Yo, let me also just throw this in there, too. They are throwing the whole book at these people. Did you notice that accessory after the fact, you can get a $500 fine or 5 years in jail? Wait, where's the balance? $500 fine, 5 years in jail. Wait, is there not like a $2,000 fine option? How did you go from $500 fine or 5 years in jail? That's crazy town. How about $2,000 or 2 years in jail? How did you make it all the way? That thing is hilarious to me. But also, like I said, I really think they're gonna probably catch about 20 people. I'm sorry, because these 5 guys are not doing this on their own. They're not. Somebody's Ubering, somebody got them clothes, food, money, their cell phone. They're gonna be more people. I'm sorry. There's gonna be about 20 people, 20 accomplices. So back to my little scoreboard over here. Do I do this right? I'm probably gonna do it wrong because that's what I do. I did it wrong. Okay, right here. I did it wrong again. Anyway, back to my little scoreboard. There's gonna be 20 people. I don't care what you say. There's gonna be 20 of them by the time this thing's over with. Let's see. There's no way they're doing this by themselves. It can't be. So somebody in the hood is helping these pookies, and they just they're gonna ruin their whole lives. Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go.
Starts tonight's coverage.
Yeah, 9 days out, the number of escaped inmates arrested is standing still.
Pookies.
But the number of people arrested because they're suspected of helping them keeps going up. Saturday, we found out 2 more people had been arrested on accomplice charges. Lenton Van Buren Sr. was arrested Friday. His relationship to Lenton Van Buren Jr., one of the escapees, is still unconfirmed. Angel McKee was also arrested Friday. She and Van Buren Sr. are charged with being accessories after the fact. At a hearing today, their bonds were set at around $1 million each.
$1 million.
2 other people were at that
crazy.
hearing too. One was Emmett Weber. The NOPD shared these pictures of officers entering a home in New Orleans East Friday. 4 people in the home were suspected of helping the inmates, but Weber was the only one they ended up arresting. His bond is $1 million too. The other was someone who's accused of helping the inmates from the inside. Trayvon Williams was already in jail. Now he's facing 10 new counts of principal to simple escape. Our partners at NOLA.com say he's accused of giving inmates a blanket and a shirt, and then they used those to scale a razor wire fence during their escape. His bond is the highest we've seen of any of the suspected accomplices, $2.5 million.
Okay. He's going to say, look, man, Jesus told me to give him the man the shirt off my back and the blanket off my bed. He's going to be like, he's going to claim religious persecution. Wait. He's already in jail. Why does he need a $2.5 million bond? He's already in jail. Y'all, these people make no sense at all. This story makes no sense. They really need to go ahead and arrest these guys so this story can go away, because the more it marinates or ferments, let me say it like that, the more it ferments, the worse it gets. Why does the guy, let me back this up. Why does the guy have a bond? He's already in jail. He don't look like he gonna be leaving in a hot minute. Let's go back.
Partners at NOLA.com say he's accused of giving inmates a blanket and a shirt.
He was giving the brother the shirt off his own back. He doing a good Samaritan deed. Come on. He was trying to help a brother out. This is insane.
And then they used those to scale a razor wire fence during their escape. His bond is the highest we've seen of any of the suspected accomplices, $2.5 million. That brings the total to 9 people now accused of helping. This past week, people have been arrested for a variety of acts.
But he's still in. I just want to make sure I'm getting that right. The brother is in jail, and he has I'm assuming he's not getting out on bond. He wasn't getting out of bond for what he was in there for. So why does he have a bond of $2.5 million? They just be doing the most over in New Orleans. Y'all be doing the most, y'all. I'm sorry. All right, let's go.
Accusations, and those include giving an inmate money, driving 2 of them around after the escape, and helping one get food. These are all cases we'll be watching closely. Anyone convicted of helping an inmate could face serious punishments. Just looking at one charge, accessories after the fact, the conviction can get you either $500 in fines or up to 5 years in jail.
Okay, now to their defense, they do say up to 5 years, but like, where's the balance? Can I get like a little balance, like, $500 and like a year and a quarter? Like, how do you get to 5 years? That's 60 months, man. Like, you're just mad. You're just mad at somebody. Shout out to everybody that's jumped into the best live chat on the internet. Please make sure you hit the like button on your way in. I appreciate y'all so much. All right, so what we're doing is we're just recapping some of this, giving us an up to date. They have in fact arrested 9 accomplices at this point, which is again crazy work. There's 5 Pookies still running around. It is very possible them guys might have got out of state at this point. I mean, good gracious, man. Now, the brother that we're gonna watch in a moment, he's a former correction officer. He kind of explains a little bit more. I think those guys, those gentlemen that were the 5 Pookies, I think they're a little bit different breed, but we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go ahead and finish this up. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
And as we mentioned, we are in weekend 2 right now of a massive manhunt to capture 5 inmates still on the run right now, as new arrests are mounting tonight, with 2 more arrested for assisting. WDSU reporter Jasmine Franklin is live, staying on top of all these new developments. And Jasmine, hearing from the crews as well, trying to track tips down right now.
Yeah, Elizabeth, a total of 9 accomplices are now behind bars, all accused of assisting those inmates that escaped from the Orleans Justice Center. This as police continue to search for 5 inmates still on the run tonight. As law enforcement searches for inmates, they are also looking for people accused of helping them. 2 additional accomplices were arrested on Saturday. Court records show Linton Van Buren Sr. and Angel McKee were taken into custody. Van Buren Sr. is
Okay, hold on. What happened? Did that change? Did y'all? Wait, were y'all able to see that? I feel like hold on. Were y'all able to see that? Or did I have it on the wrong screen? Okay, wait. I want
Court
to
records
point something
show
out real quick.
Linton Van Buren.
Why my boy over here got some khaki shorts on, look like he about to go to the beach? Like, he got the khaki shorts on. He got the white loafers like he's about to go to a yacht party, but he has to stop at the top and be like a state police officer. This story's got to stop. This story has to stop. It has to. I want it to end because I want the people of New Orleans to be safe, and also the level of comedy that this story is starting to produce is literally criminal. Okay, it's criminal how much comedy this thing is. My dude looked like he about to go to a yacht party. I mean, he's got the white loafers on. He's chilling, but he said, "Wait, before I get to the the yacht party, I gotta go be a state trooper for a hot minute." Let's go, Jason.
Sr. and Angel McKee were taken into custody. Van Buren Sr. is charged with accessory after the fact and theft. His bond is set at $1,002,500.
Why y'all hurt this man's feelings by adding 2,500 as if the 1 million was not enough? Okay. I'm sorry, y'all. This story is insane. This story is not real. This story is, you know what it is? I think Chief Executive Second Born is an author. She writes these very fantastic stories. There's like a genre of like rewriting historical stories in a different way with a different outcome. And she really likes the Greek mythology. So she just writes these fantastic stories with different outcomes in the Greek mythology and stuff like that. She likes doing that. This story, I think she might have wrote this. Like, what's the purpose of charging this guy $1,002,500? As if, oh yeah, I got the million, but I ain't got the 2,500. Oh, I got the 1,000,000 too, but I don't have the 500. Man, come on. What is the purpose, man? This story is not real. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pinch myself because this story is not real. This whole story is it's made up.
McKee is also charged with accessory after the fact and has a $1 million bond.
It's a serious matter. It's not a joke. Some of the people we're dealing with are acting like it's a joke or a grand.
Yo, stop, because my kids absolutely love the Hunger Games. They absolutely love the Hunger Games. And what you're saying right here is such vibrant comedy. You know what? Y'all just put Apex in the chat. Y'all, Apex is a stream sponsor right now because that thing right there is hilarious. I would go get Chief Executive Second Born because she would absolutely love that. That would be the best. But see, the only problem is though, if they weren't like, these dudes are pretty gnarly dudes, man. They're not good guys at all. So they're not just tributes, from the districts. I mean, these are horrible people. So that's the only reason I would not want to support the Hunger Game style approach. But I think, hey, I like the bounty. Maybe every week they'll raise the bounty on the people and allow, open season. So if you bring them in, you get the bread, and bring them in warm or cold, however you want to do that. So, oh my gosh, man, Apex, I promise you, my daughters would absolutely be your best friend because they love talking about the Hunger Games. And I just told you, like Taylor, likes recrafting stories, so she'll tell a whole narrative that doesn't actually happen in the books or the movies. She's got her own stories. She's made up her own. I think the lady's name is Susan Summers, something like that. Whoever wrote the Hunger Games, my daughter's on her bumper. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Okay, let's get done with this.
And theft auto game it's not.
Although it's still unclear what role each accomplice played in assisting the escapees, Linton Van Buren Sr. has the exact same name as inmate Linton Van Buren, who is still on the run.
These are dangerous people. Many of them already have convictions of serious nature. Some of them have pending rape charges.
Did they arrest him just because his last name is Van Buren? Wait, hold on, man. There better not be no doggone Dear Woe Christian that's in jail in Atlanta and escape. And then be like, look, well, we're just going to arrest Dear Woe Christian up in Marietta because they got the same. This story is not real.
Murder charges, you name it. I mean, they're a danger to the community.
9 days into the search for the remaining inmates, hundreds of law enforcement personnel continue to search. And the U.S. Marshal's Office says, along with the remaining inmates, additional accomplices will likely be taken into custody.
It may take a little longer than some people expect. It's not as easy as just driving around looking for them. I mean, a lot of them are in hiding or somebody's helping them. So it's going to take some effort, but the work's going to continue with all the agencies that we're working with, and eventually all 5 of them will be found.
And tonight, the U.S. Marshal's Office says they will continue working with other agencies until they find those 5 remaining inmates that are still on the run. If you have any information on the inmates' whereabouts or anyone who would possibly help them, you should call police or Crime Stoppers. Reporting live in New Orleans, Jasmine Franklin, WDSU News.
And Jasmine, we're learning some new details on exactly how the 10 inmates escaped the Orleans Parish Jail last Friday. Sources.
Okay, if you look at this picture right here, and I think I found a better one as well. You can kind of see that there was a bar right here that would have been there. You can kind of, if you zoom in, you can see that bar is missing. So I can see where it was extracted from. I just can't believe that it was actually cut with some clipper blades. That's just crazy town. That's crazy work.
With direct knowledge of the investigation say that the inmates allegedly used electric hair clippers to tear through the wall and were provided rags to cover the barbed wire while climbing over the fence. Sources also say that additional charges for this assistance are expected. So right now, be sure to download our free WDSU app. That is where you will be alerted first when any more captures happen.
That's some grade A foolishness right there. Y'all, they actually cut through the wall. I gotta, like I said last night, I have to see the reenactment of how that happened. I gotta see how it happened because I just don't understand. What you're saying just doesn't make sense. You don't use clippers like that. And when you look at, I was looking at my clippers last night. I brought my pair of clippers down here. I'm like, these are heavy. Like this is a bona fide weapon in the hands of a criminal like this. So y'all just giving criminals tools like this and not any kind of checking them. I said, man, that's crazy. I don't think they did either. I definitely don't think they expected as much attention either. I just don't think I don't think they did it on their own, though. I don't think they ever expected to get this far afield because I don't think they did it on their own. I think, and you know what? Here, let me bring my brother in. This is the hold on, let me see the name of his channel. Correctional Officers in the News. And let me just drop his link in here. Seemed like a solid guy. Really smart commentary. So I'm gonna drop this in here for you all to check out. I'm gonna drop this video. We'll watch this video together. But he had a great, perspective on this situation. I think we would all benefit from. Let me just save something real quick, and it's saved. And now we're gonna bring this in. Let's get ready to go. You know how we do it. Get those green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
Tonight, these stunning images from inside a New Orleans jail cell where 10 inmates, some charged with murder, escaped, sparking an urgent citywide manhunt. The toilet dislodged from a cell wall, exposing an opening. Scrawled on the wall above, "We innocent and too easy," with an arrow toward the hole where they escaped out of.
Okay, if you look at this picture right here, I can't zoom in, but right around here, there you can see pretty clearly. Let me see if I can do my little pencil. Yeah, right around here. Hold on one second. Bang. All right. Right around here, you can kind of see that the bar has been cut. or something was cut there. So you can kind of see it there. If you zoom in, if you get this picture again and kind of look at it, you can kind of see like, okay, I can kind of see, all right, that makes sense. But what they use to cut it still just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. that doesn't make any sense to me at all. But let's keep it going. Let's go. Wait, get rid of this thing now. Yeah, I know I don't use that often. So
a view of the officer on duty. Authorities say it happened just after midnight when the inmates broke a lock on a cell door.
Hello, how are you? My name is Lerone Kuntz. I'm a former correction officer, and I just have to talk about this escape that happened in New Orleans, where 10 inmates escaped from a correctional facility. Now, as a correction officer, I am offended by this escape. This bothers me. It makes correction look bad. And I've never heard of such a thing, right? I've been in the business for 2 decades, and I've never heard of 10 inmates escaping at the same time. I was thinking about how to describe this jail system, and I came across the word dysfunctional. And I said to myself, the level of dysfunctionality is astounding, right? And I'm saying, is there such a word as dysfunctionality? Am I inventing a word here for this jail system? And no, I looked it up. There is a word called dysfunctionality. It refers to a state of impaired or abnormal functioning, often used to describe relationships, families, or systems that do not operate normally or beneficially. And that is exactly what's going on in New Orleans with their correctional system. And I'm just going to point out a few things that are not normal, that don't happen in corrections, or is not supposed to happen in corrections.
Right.
First of all, they say this escape happened around 12:30 p.m. Okay. Lock-in time is around 11 o'clock, right? If you have inmates in a cell block, inmates lock in around 11 p.m. in most facilities, sometimes 10 at some facilities. But I've never heard of a facility that has cell blocks, that the inmates are still walking around at 12:30. Okay. I've seen footage where the inmates are pulling on doors and walking around, and it's 12 o'clock at night.
I told you.
That is not supposed to happen.
That was weird.
The second thing that is troubling is that no officer was assigned to the cell block. How do you have a cell block and no officer assigned to it? They said that, from what I've been able to understand, they had an officer that's looking at a monitor from a camera that's in the housing area. There's not an officer in the housing area. There's just a camera there, and then you have an officer that's probably in another room someplace in the facility monitoring these feeds, looking at TV screens. This is what substitutes as a correction officer. Technology. They put a camera in and say, hey, we don't need a correction officer. This is crazy. This is not supposed to happen in correction. The third thing that is preposterous is that these inmates were sentenced. 10 inmates, sentenced inmates. No correction officer on post. The cells are open. Inmates are still walking around, 12 o'clock at night. 7 of these inmates have been convicted of murder.
Hey, let's real quick.
In our system,
let's just take a second to unpack that, because he's about to say something that we've heard, and we kind of wondered why. There's levels of dysfunctionality in this thing, right? But before we get too dysfunctional, make sure we shout out our brother, the uncivil law, up in the building. Grace and peace to you, friend. Good to hear you. Oh, okay. Well, hey, now we know. Correctional officer gets Kurt's thumbs up. There we go. Say less. Make sure y'all jump in And I'll drop the link again to this video. Go check out his channel and tell him he did great work. But and we watched when we saw the video initially, we were wondering like why the inmates just walking around like like it's a dorm, like they're just chilling, like what's going on? That's a problem. Nobody was watching that monitor. That was a problem. We all called that out. But now he's going to get into a couple layers more about the actual pookies that were arrested and that the ones that are caught as well as the ones that are still on the lam. And look at this. Check this out.
In correctional systems, these inmates are called state-ready inmates, or inmates that are supposed to be transferred from a jail to a prison, right? These are no longer detainees. Detainees are held in the jail until their case is adjudicated. So technically, inmates that are detainees are innocent until proven guilty, all right? And these inmates have already been proven guilty and been sentenced. So these are the most dangerous inmates in your facility. Like I said, 7 of them have been convicted of murder. How you can have a housing area without an officer, it's not supposed to ever happen. How are you going to have a housing area where you have inmates walking around at 12 o'clock at night in a cell area? Maybe if they're in a dorm, but you wouldn't have these types of inmates, these dangerous types of inmates that may want to escape because they got sentenced and they're waiting to go to prison. You wouldn't have them in a dorm. You would have them in a cell area and they would be locked in by 11 o'clock, right? This should not happen. Another thing that should not happen is that you have these inmates on the ground floor. The only reason why you would have inmates that are state ready or inmates that have been convicted of murders on the ground floor is if if you have a 1-story building.
So back to that state ready situation, and I think they should have made this clear. We watched a press conference where they're talking about the high level of detainees, and I think they should have made it clear like these people were already tried and convicted. They're not just it's not just a traffic ticket, it's not just jaywalking. These people have been tried and convicted. They don't need to be in the jail. These are higher security, higher risk, whatever the term was that they used. And I don't think that was very clear because, like as Apex said right here, I didn't know that they had already been sentenced. I didn't know that either. But these gentlemen many of them had already been sentenced. So they didn't need to be in, dare I say, a regular jail. They need to be in prison because that's where they're supposed to be going to. They should fast track that to it. Who's responsible for that? I think we all know it rhymes with sheriff. That's right. So it does seem problematic to me that these guys were in, a lower security jail, and look what happened. Let's go.
I don't think this was a 1-story building from what I'm hearing.
No,
So
I don't think so.
you're supposed to have these inmates on the 3rd or 4th or the 5th floor just to deter them from trying to escape. Simple as that. You don't have them on the ground floor. That's another thing that's wrong here. The 4th thing that's wrong, I think I'm up to 4 or 5. The next thing that is wrong is that they say that the officer who's monitoring the cameras left his post to go get food. Now, jails run on a schedule. They run on shifts. You have your day shift, which is usually 7 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon. You have your afternoon shift, which is 3 o'clock to 11. And you have your midnight shift, which is about 11 o'clock p.m. to 7 in the morning. So you have the 7 to 3, 3 to 11, and 11 to 7 tours, right? So officers that are coming to work, they're basically on those shifts. Now, some jails may do it 11:30, some may do it 12 o'clock, 12 to 8. It's in that range, okay? So let's just say the officer that's monitoring the cameras came in at 11 o'clock, right? They say he went for food at around 12. Why is someone who just came in at 11 o'clock going to get something to eat at 12? the meal period doesn't start until like 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours into your tour. So he would be going to meal at 2:30, 3 o'clock at the earliest. Why is he going to meal at 12 o'clock and he just got there at 11, right? That doesn't make any sense to a correction officer. Another thing that doesn't make any sense is that if you do have to go out for whatever reason and your job is to monitor the camera feeds and there's no officer in the housing area and you're like the last line of defense to make sure that inmates are not tearing the place up, you get a relief before you go anywhere. You're supposed to have someone come and fill in for you while you go to the bathroom or go to meal or go eat or whatever. That didn't happen. The guy just got up and walked out and just left the cameras unattended. That is not supposed to happen. The other thing that's not supposed to happen, they say that they arrested a maintenance worker and he is supposed to be an accomplice and he's the one that cut the water off in the cell, which allowed the inmates to take the pipes apart.
Okay, if you look at this picture, again, using my handy dandy, you can see it looks like something is supposed to be attached right here. If you look at it. So you say like this side is this size is the same size as this, then this should be the same size as that as well. It looks like something's supposed to be in that space right there. Now, I don't see any connections right here on the wall, so I don't know where they would have if they were there. So anyway, it just seems like some high level of dysfunctionality to say the least. But I just want to point that out. Let's go.
And go out. Now, why at midnight do you have a maintenance worker in the cell area for any reason, unescorted, with no one in the housing area? And if there's no one in the housing area with the inmates, who let who let the civilian in? He says, the civilian says, I guess he's a maintenance worker, plumber or something. He's in the building. He's called to the area because he says that there was a report that the toilet was clogged. The toilet was clogged. And he said he spoke to an officer and he went in, but there was no work order associated with this clogged toilet. Now, if it's 12 o'clock at night and the toilet's clogged, we're not dealing with this until the morning. So I'm not calling a maintenance person up to the floor because of a clogged toilet on the midnight shift. And why is there a maintenance guy roaming the building at 12 o'clock at night anyway? If you don't have enough money to hire officers to work the housing areas, how do you have money in the system to hire a maintenance person to be there at 12 o'clock at night? I don't understand that. So there's so many things that are wrong with this scenario from a correctional point of view. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for me as a correctional officer or a former correction officer to hear this story. It makes us look crazy. And the people that are in charge, they should resign. You know, they're coming out with their Class A uniforms. You know, they have all these stars and bars on their collars and things like that. They should be ashamed to show their faces. I'm gonna be honest with you. The person who's in charge, I guess, is the sheriff. I hope that she doesn't run for re-election because she shouldn't be elected to any type of law enforcement position if she's running her jail like this. And now they're trying to scramble around and find out what went wrong. What went wrong is that your jail is dysfunctional. The level of dysfunctionality is obscene. So hopefully they'll catch all these people that escaped. They said that out of the 10 that left, that escaped, they said 5 of them have been caught. So I'm sure they're going to catch the other 5. It's just going to take some time. Usually when an inmate escapes, he doesn't have any money. He doesn't have a getaway car. He doesn't have somebody that's going to give him thousands of dollars to go on the lam and evade police. Usually he's going back home. He's going to the place that's on his paperwork when he gets booked in. That address is probably where he's going back home to, because he doesn't have any money, he doesn't have any clothes or anything like that. So he's going back to the old neighborhood, and he's going to try to get help there. And that's where law enforcement is going to be waiting for him. They're going to be staked out around that area. And when he comes, and when he, comes around, they're going to arrest him. Or somebody within his circle of friends are going to turn him in, because now the reward is $20,000. So most people will turn you in for $20,000 if they know that you're there in the neighborhood. They're going to turn you in. So eventually all 10 of them will be caught.
I'm turning you in, brother.
And of course, escape is a felony.
For sure.
You can get 7 years for escape. But I guess these guys don't care, because they've already been sentenced for murder. So they're not going home anyway. So they figure, hey, if I can get away, I'll get away. But just the level of incompetence is astounding.
I agree.
This is something that is system-wide. You can't pin this on one person, one officer or supervisor. This is something that's probably been going on for a while.
For
In
sure.
correction, you do find dysfunctionality in the systems. And usually things like this don't happen. And we have a saying that it's all good until it's not. You can do something wrong 1,000,000 times, and if nothing happens, it's all good. But the one time you do something wrong and something wrong happens, you got a lot of problems. And these people, they have a lot of problems. They have a lot of explaining to do. God forbid if one of these inmates hurts somebody while they're out there, this department is going to have a crazy lawsuit on their hands, because the whole system is out of control. I mean, I can go on for a half an hour or more about things that are glaringly wrong with this jail system and the circumstances surrounding this escape. But I think you get the point. This is not supposed to happen in correction. I'm embarrassed by this. And I don't even work there. So I'm going to probably have to do another video about this to get this all off my chest. But for now, thank you for stopping in and checking me out. And until next time, as always, peace and stay safe.
All right. I'm right there with you, Apex. I'm starting to really, I don't believe that this was I'm not saying it's like Shawshank Redemption. Shout out to Shawshank. I'm not saying it's like Shawshank, but it just doesn't make sense. It just does not make sense. The water story, how they cut through the bar story. Where's the tapes? Where's the video of them running through the what's it called? The catch or whatever it's called. All that kind of stuff like that. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Yeah, thank you so much. That guy was really smart. I like his approach. Shout out to Kurt. Kurt affirmed him. So, if Uncivil Law likes you, then we got to go rock with you. So y'all go by there and make sure you check out his channel. I am so ready for the reenactment videos to show of how they did this allegedly, because this is the biggest jailbreak in New Orleans, Louisiana history, probably in the United States. And one time, 10 inmates, we have to look into that. This is probably the biggest one. So there's going to be History Channel and Mythbusters and all these other people are going to be talking about how this happened. Law and Crime are going to be talking about this when they finally catch all the Pookies. I want to see the reenactment. Show me how they got through there in an hour. Because remember, they cut through those bars in an hour, allegedly. I'm sorry. Now, if you told me they had been chopping on them bars, messing with them bars for a week, and then moving the toilet back, now that might work. I might be able to roll with that. I might be able to understand that. But just to say they did all that in an hour, and just because they all work together, nah, I'm starting not to believe that. I just don't believe it. I just can't see it. But I want to know what y'all think. Down in the comments, let me know. Please, 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 if you don't mind, like the video, share the video, and subscribe if you haven't already done it. I really appreciate it. I told y'all before the show, when the show started, President Firstborn was out in these streets. and it's actually storming really bad. So I'm actually going to scoot out of here so I can, she asked me to meet her so I can follow her home because she's not a real big storm driver. So we're going to get ready to get out of here. So everybody, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Make sure you tip your waitress, and that waiter's on the way out the door, and that's by making sure you hit the like button and dropping the green heart. Thank y'all so much. And until next time, grace and peace.